Welcome to another Straight Up Tuesday tip. I'm 𝗤𝗁𝗁𝗁. With me as always is Mark Ainley, and with us again, Chance Badertscher. Welcome back.
Happy to be here, guys.
This is first time in person, though.
Yeah, first time in the studio. You guys got one heck of a setup here.
The
Thanks for
underground.
having me.
We named it. It's
All right,
the underground.
The underground TM.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about when you just did it because I think when you did the opening, it kind of took you off guard. But our whole office it's just like rocks. Like when you're when they're on the phone or something like that, and they hear it, like they get startled when they hear you yell.
Oh, I got something to. I have something to go towards now.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. So we're gonna talk about contracts here. I'll make a statement, man. As a buyer, you get a ton of contingencies in Illinois. It's ridiculous. It's just so silly. And today we're going to talk about what you could actually cancel a contract for after all contingencies. So, Chance, take it away.
Obviously, we know about the contingencies that most people deal with: financing contingency, attorney review, the inspection contingency. Once those have all passed, for the most part, you're going to end up closing 99 times out of 100. But if you're on the buy side, there can be some unexpected changes that may allow you to terminate this deal, get out of there, and get your earnest money back.
All right, let's hear them. Give us a few examples.
Yeah, big thing that comes up are misrepresentations. You know, if you're presented with a rent roll at the very beginning, shows that the place is fully occupied. You might have some leases that are terminating. You've had an agreement with the seller that they're not going to enter into any new leases. Lo and behold, apartment's filled and it's at below market rent. It's a big misrepresentation. That's going to mess up your investment. That's going to allow you to get out of that deal. Another thing, if there are any encumbrances on title that you were unaware of until closing day, that's another big misrepresentation. You'll be able to get out of that.
What's
deal.
an example of an encumbrance?
You know, if there's an easement that didn't show up on the survey maybe, but was recorded. If you are responsible for, maintaining a party wall that wasn't disclosed, that's always a big one.
It sounds like a good time.
I'll pay you a little more, sir.
For a party wall, I'll take it.
Not that kind of party wall. Yeah, what else we got?
Party wall threw you off.
The party wall did indeed throw me off. Yeah, if there's, if there was a problem in the chain of title, maybe the seller isn't actually the owner. And we need to get a sign off from somebody that had, owned the property prior and didn't transfer it properly. That's obviously a big one. Obviously, that's why you have title insurance, so that in the future the title company will go to bat for you and get that property back in your name. But if that's something that comes up before closing, that's going to be a problem for you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, some of those endorsements and easements, all that stuff are less, to me, it seems more rare. You might see it more often, but I do see a lot of times where the owner enters into a new lease, or whether if it's at rent or below rent, or maybe it's a owner occupied and they need to purchase it. Like how if they renew somebody that they're supposed to not renew, or not get somebody out that they're supposed to get out, is that help the buyer as well too? Get out?
100%. I mean, if you're going into an investment property, you might be thinking about rehabbing that property so that you can obviously get more rent when you do rent it out. That's messing with your investment. It's a misrepresentation. I have it in all of my attorney review letters that seller will not enter into new leases unless you get approval from the buyer. That's a straight up breach of contract right there. So, I mean, we're not looking for just technicalities. We're looking for big things that will mess up your investment.
And on the front end, the buyer, seller, they don't necessarily have to write all the rents and the rent roll into the contract. That's something that ends up happening, and you're making sure you're looking out for your clients in their attorney review and make sure that you're not changing anything about what's already been known with this.
Exactly. And we make that crystal clear in our attorney review letter that all that information needs to be provided so that we can review it, so that we can approve it, so that I can give my buyer the okay to move ahead with this deal. And if that changes, that's a big problem. Nobody should have to go through a deal buying something they weren't expecting to be buying.
What about someone who was paying, but now all of a sudden they're not paying, or it comes to light that this guy's 3 months behind? How does that play into this scenario?
Yeah, that comes up a lot. For the most part, I don't really try to necessarily cancel a transaction when that happens. You have other avenues. We can perhaps set up an escrow to handle eviction charges if it comes to that.
Yeah. Final walkthrough, right? And this is especially we get people to buy like before we're done, and it's like, all right, cool, we'll do these things. And final walkthrough, they start, you know, we also want this, or this needs to be touched up, and it's like a borderline call. And usually the right answer is like, all right, let's work together, come to an agreement. But let's say you get contentious there and like you can't come to an agreement. Is the buyer still on the hook? Right? Like they walk in the final walkthrough like, oh, I thought it'd be this color shade of white. It's not.
Yeah.
Like
so for knickknack cosmetic stuff, no, you don't have an out there. If it's, you know, some kind of major installation, if you were supposed to do a big roof repair and you just didn't do it, that's a huge breach. But, you know, if wall colors not exactly what you expected, if an outlet plate is a little loose and hasn't been you know, tightened, minor issues aren't going to get you out of that deal. It's got to be something that was blatant and big.
So how big is big? Like, is it a tub versus a
let's
whirlpool?
let's go back to the roof,
stuff
like the roof repair. It's like, oh, like thought you were gonna do X, you know, I thought you were gonna do this, and you just did the seam. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's those situations. And listen, usually people are, you know, you take a step back and say, all right, well, I want to get the same thing. Let's figure this out. But you get another party that doesn't want to do that. What is like the actual legal avenue, right? The last resort, like what is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no clear line exactly, especially when it comes to something like repairs. Like, you got to put a dollar amount on what that's going to cost. Some of the contracts say, you know, if it's something that's less than $250, you're just going to have to eat it. And if it's above that, then the seller's going to be responsible. But, I mean, it's something that could potentially end up in litigation, and you'd let the court decide. Rarely does it get there. You know, if you're arguing over $500, that's just not worth it for anybody. And one party is usually going to relent.
Yep. Boom. Any other scenarios?
No, I've been on both sides. I'd be curious about this. If you could just explain this concept. I've been on both sides of deals where people talk about recording the contract. Maybe break that down for the listeners.
Yeah, that has happened from time to time, and especially with new construction. Anytime I'm reviewing a new construction contract, there's usually a provision in there saying you cannot record this contract. However, I've had was in a scenario where my buyer was going to closing the next day, and lo and behold, the seller was under contract with someone else as well. And he had been under contract with them prior to my buyer. The first buyer refused to terminate the deal. Obviously, my guy did not end up getting the property, and we're talking like it's like a $3 million purchase, multi-unit. It's a huge building. We ended up recording our contract so that the other buyer, who did go through with the purchase, now has that on title. And anytime he wants to get rid of that property, and just happens to be trying to get rid of that property right now, there's a big problem with title right there.
Wait, you could just not record. That's insane.
Yeah. A lot of times it's where the maybe the seller wants to get out and the buyer threatens to record it. That's where we've had it.
That's exactly the situation.
Yeah. What'd that builder think? He's like, yeah, let's get this all the finish line, see who's actually going to close. Like, that's crazy. I don't know.
You know, we've all been in this game for a while. There are some unethical people out there that do try to game the system.
How do you think that was going to play out, though? It's like sometimes it's like those Ponzi guys. Like, all right, it's inevitable. Like, you know, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, it was years of litigation.
Yeah. That's crazy.
All right, cool. Let's do our Chicago fact here. I'm assuming we got a Lavelle Law sponsor in this.
We do. So sponsored a Lavelle Law, brought to you by Chance, sitting right in front of me. We're playing for Shakira Jackson, who left us a 5-star review on iTunes. So thanks, Shakira. And Shakira, if myself or Chance gets this right, you get a $50 gift card brought to you by Lavelle Law.
All right, so Chance came over to Roselle today. He's usually downtown. That's where I see him. But they do have an office in Schaumburg. Lavelle Law does. So Schaumburg is home of one of the 2 IKEAs in Illinois.
Bolingbrook.
Oh, look at you.
Is that where you're going with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was even going to give you a few options.
The sad reason. Sorry, man. You get to jump in on that.
Fine.
Do you know it?
No.
Oh,
I think I was going to say Naperville.
I was going to make that one of the options. He knew it. He didn't want to cost himself $50. It's
Yeah,
weird when you're the sponsor and the answer.
I live about the exact distance between both of them. So when my daughter's like, I need to get a desk, let's go to, like, on a Saturday afternoon, it's like, all right, so which one should I go to? So I always pull both of them up, see which one's got the least traffic going to it. So, but I do like the Schaumburg one better. So
that was the most confident answer we've had
It
in 300
quick,
episodes.
yeah.
Chance, thanks for coming on. Tom, thank you as always. Check out Build Your Team at straightupchicagoinvestor.com, where you can find awesome people for your network like Chance, other brokers, inspectors, and everyone you're looking for on your real estate journey here. So, Chance, thanks for coming on. Tom, thank you. Listeners, we'll see you next week.
Thanks all.
Thanks for having me on the underground. This is great.